Red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light, red light.
It's like what chance? It's still going on from the 90s. It's like, come on, guys, learn up your vocabulary, please. Let some things just die. Man, I tell you what, but
that catch on.
But for Joe as well, you know, obviously he's going to be challenging Nick Nemeth for the TNA World Championship at Bound for Glory. I know Frankie Kazarian is going to be a special guest referee. If Joe's obviously successful, which I hope he is, because it'd be so great to see. And, you know, this year we had Jordan Grace in the Rumble. Next year, maybe Joe Hendry in the Rumble as the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Obviously, Ian, for somebody who's had such a close association with Joe, you know, he's done some great stuff in TNA, appeared in NXT as well, been on a NXT PLE as well. If he gets to maybe appear on one of these big four, like a Royal Rumble, for somebody who's had such a close association with him, how prideful would you be for him to get that moment?
Oh, mate, like, just everything, when he just seeing him succeed, I'm just, like, happy for him. Like, because, again, he's done things his way, and, like, I've been there for the start of the journey when he was, like, running ideas about, like, what he wants to do in his vignette setting up, like what he wants to do in like certain matches against certain people, and like do certain things. Like he does things his way. He has his own kind of like ideas, and again he's like learning. It's just moments where he's like sitting there. He's like, yeah, I was chatting with the Motor City Machine Guns about like, you know, moves or like sequences I can do. I'm like, shut up! Don't rub that in my face, okay, please, thank you. Or that time, this one, this is a deep cut as well. I don't know if he's okay with this story, but I don't care. He was, I think it was at a progress. No, it was a TNA show, and supposedly I was talking about like, oh, you're on the same show as Kenta. That's crazy. Like, oh yeah, Kenta came up to me and he said he liked my stuff and he liked the character. I'm like, oh, Joe, not Kenta. Oh, how could you do to me? How could you meet Kenta and not go, by the way, I've got a friend of mine, he's a real big fan. Or like, I'm sure like Judas Grey right now has had the same thing with Joe Hendry teaming with Jeff Hardy. So it's just those little things, but yeah, it's just great to see him in these positions.
Yeah, truly indeed. And you mentioned Judas Grey there. I know you and him have had a bit of a thing going on in Discovery Wrestling, obviously with the formation of a newly crowned championship. But before we get into that, obviously, I've had Alan Smith, who's the previous owner of Discovery, on the show in the past 2 times. And I remember he talked about some forthcoming changes for Discovery, which weren't revealed publicly at the point. But obviously, it was that Joe Hendry had acquired the promotion and he's running it now. And I know you've wrestled for Discovery in really these 2 different eras, obviously Alan's era and Joe's era. For yourself, Ian, comparing these 2 eras and moving on to it, how has it been? Like, does it still got that Discovery disco vibe, and it's just a new fun environment?
Yeah, I've only wrestled with one kind of like Joe Hendry run disco. I feel like we're just scheduling wise. I moved to England in the start of 2024, which I only appeared on like the one show in February. But then like seeing all the other shows, you've had Elias. Yeah. You know, you had Leon Slater, who's now the Y Division champion. Like, it's like I from the first show there, and the first show was kind of like there was obviously a different vibe, but I don't know whether it's because I had to wrestle 2 matches that my focus wasn't there. But it was a different venue. I think I'd not wrestled at Portobello and Town Hall yet, and as a disco fan, I watched wrestling there. You know, I watched. Was it like Chris Hero versus Joe Coffey there? So yeah, for me that was like a full circle moment getting to wrestle, and then getting to wrestle Andy Roberts. Love Andy Roberts. Worked with him in front of no fans, and then it was great to work with him in front of fans as well. And then getting to wrestle Judas again. I feel like I could talk on for so long about kind of like me and Judas's relationship within Discovery Wrestling, and there's been dips, there's been dives, there's been dodges, there's been a lot of differentials. It's a sour taste in my mouth that I couldn't walk away with the Openweight Championship. I feel the less said is better, but I'm happy to see Judas Grey succeeding in TNT, in Discovery Wrestling. Like, he was in a 6-man tag at Effie's Big Gay Brunch against Effie and Act 2. Like, yeah, he's had a meteoric rise. I'm very happy for his success. But I feel I've got unfinished business in Discovery Wrestling. That's just kind of like my feelings towards it. I'm not sure if that's seen as a promotional value for Discovery Wrestling, because I feel that I was Judas Gray's debut on a pre-show in Discovery Wrestling, like after a major loss to, I think it was like, must have been a major loss to Chris Ridgway, and then at the anniversary show I wasn't even booked at Discovery Wrestling, but I, like, when Zach Dynamite wasn't available to make it, I, fit the bill, had my gear, and I wrestled with the Foundation of the Future against Alex Webb, Miles, and Theodoros in a 6-man tag, which was real good. And I even got I was the person who finished that match. I finished that match with Alex Webb. My style changed up in disco. Do I regret my attitude within 2022 disco wrestling? Maybe. Was it 2023? I'm not sure. I think it was 2023 disco wrestling, because I was on the pre-show against Judas, and I kind of like made sure that it was present that I wasn't happy about being on the pre-show, when I've had banger matches against Mark Haskins, against Chris Ridgway, against Jack Morris, against BT Gunn in triple threat action. I feel that every time I feel like I've gained momentum, I've had the rug pulled out from underneath me. Because after me and Judas, then Judas gets booked on a main show with that Fatal 4-Way, Dickie Divers, Ryan Griffin, Judas, and I. And then the Rumble comes around, and then we were very toxic towards each other. And I don't know if I brought that toxicity out of him or whether it was just my own toxicity. But yeah, left a sour taste in my mouth to face up against kind of like someone I've helped coach, who I feel I've helped get to this position in Discovery Wrestling, and almost like get stabbed in the back against the realms of competition. But that's why I feel I don't have unfinished. That's why I feel that I've got an unfinished story in Discovery Wrestling, because I feel that the rug's been pulled out from underneath me once again. And oh no, I guess we'll see what the future holds in regards to Discovery, whether dates line up, whether Big Guy thinks that there's some value in Ian Skinner in Discovery Wrestling. But hey, we'll see. I think it's down to what the fans think as well. Because at the end of the day, Discovery is all about the wrestling, it's all about the fans, it's all about what they want.
Yeah, absolutely as well. I mean, to my knowledge, obviously that tournament final as well, I believe Judas used some undermining tactics as well to get the win as well for that championship as well. So I definitely think there is some leftover things or some stories needing some wrapped up there with Discovery. And I mean, it's a beautiful title as well. And I think it would add there to maybe a triple crown Ian Skinner as well. So
yeah,
I think that's a way to go there indeed, brother. But obviously, something we have to talk about as well. You mentioned Mark Haskin there, somebody you wrestled in the past, and obviously he's a former Progress World Champion. And I've had, the co-owner of Progress, Lee McAteer, on the show before. Great guy. Loves talking about what Progress has done. Obviously, the Defy acquirance. I know you even did a wee Q&A on your Instagram that Progress is a bookmark for you, something that you really want to get and achieve. I mean, I don't know. I think that title there would look very good around your waist. What is about Progress that is somewhere that you really want to achieve there?
I was like massive fan of Progress. I remember getting Progress on demand and watching from chapter 1 onwards, and just again seeing the rise of like so many people. I feel like you've got Zach Gibson with hair on those shows, and it's wild. And then you look at the Progress champions. I remember my Progress was Tommy End winning Super Strong Style 16, coming out on the ramp, sitting down and being like, come on, man, let's go. And I think that was kind of like, there was a triple threat between Tommy End and Mark Haskins when they needed a bigger room. Just, again, when you're a fan of a place, like, again, even as a wrestler, you're still a fan of a place. You still have these memories. Like, I was chatting with Joe Wade about this in the car, in which, like, we're around at the same things, and we've all got that same kind of like vision and iconography that reminds us. Tommy End doing his little sit down and just being an absolute god, and then you've got like Chuck Mambo, and then just, again from for what it's worth, Progress within the pandemic as well, absolutely killer. You know, that rise of Luke Jacobs as a single star to being the Progress champion, but the story with Kid Lycos and Spike Trabet. There's so many hallmarks, and I feel like obviously kill it. Simon Miller, Simon Miller and Tate Mayfairs, and Simon Miller now, yeah. But yeah, there's so much kind of like iconography there, and like you could say the same for Rev Pro. Like just seem rise of Michael Oku to being championship status, and then again the rise of Luke Jacobs within that as well, because it was like Luke and Ethan were like tag team royalty. You know, they teamed up with Ospreay to get turned on. You know, with Aussie Open, like there's layers to it, man. Because like I feel that as wrestlers, we're still fans at heart. Yeah. At the end of the day, and there's still things that kind of like catch you that you're like, yeah, I love this. And you kind of like, I mean, from my work, I don't know what it is, but I feel like it's a universal thing in which you want to one day create that iconography, to create that moment for the next person.
Mm-hmm.
Like who's watching, who goes, wow, that's so cool, and you get to live that. It's kind of like if you read comic books, and then at a certain point, after a certain point of comic books, you get to have your own panel, your own hero shot. I think that's what I'd say. That's what we all dream of. We all want that kind of like that hero shot or that villain shot. You know, that moment in Everything Everywhere All at Once. That if you're a villain, that little thing, that thing that sticks out to the other people.
It's very much passing down the sentiment of admiration. You know, from somebody who was watching. I have that admiration for them. I want to be what they are. And then you could have a new generation of somebody and they have that for you. And it's always continuing that as well. And I think Progress does that very well. They've had great stars, obviously, Eddie Dennis, Mark Andrews, obviously Gunther was there for as well. And so many others as well. But I would love to know from yourself, Ian, who's your Progress Wrestling Mount Rushmore? 4 individuals that you think really are encapsulated in promotion.
Again, Tommy End is one. Because like he was the guy that kind of like, I should go back and watch the rise of this, and then the Sumerian Death Squad. I feel that, I feel Lycos is one, because you've got like, it's almost like a story of kind of like whenever CCK would get like some steam underneath him, he'd get hurt, but he'd come back and they'd win the belts against Mustache Mountain. Pete Dunne definitely third one as well, because I feel like he was like right moment, right time. He was Progress champ, and then he won NXT UK champ. That's 3 right there. That I feel like I'm speaking to like of the era of the time. I feel like Zack Sabre Jr., but I don't know whether like, yeah, I feel like he's more in tune with Progress as much as like he's a Rev Pro. Like I feel like he's more Rev Pro than he is Progress. But watching Zack's stuff on Progress is kind of like what, again, like it's like, yeah, and again, by even like having those 4 names, you're like throwing out the influence that like Mark Andrews had at that early Progress, and like the MVs, I feel like there's just like so many Progress MVs. Now, if I was gonna take just by virtue of I've already kind of like explained how much I love him, taking Tommy End down, putting Mark Andrews in, that's kind of like what my Rushmore would be. It'd be Mark Andrews. Who did I say? Mark Andrews, Pete Dunne, Lycos, and who's the 4th?
Was it Walter?
Nah. Let's say Ilya.
Ilya Dragunov.
Ilya Dragunov, yeah.
I'll take that. That's a fine their selection as well.
Yeah, I've kind of like I've gone over. I've given you 6. I feel that people will be like, did you forget this person? I'm like, yes, I did. Okay.
I think you gave a fine You gave a fine selection of names there, indeed, brother. But of course, as well, I know you're a champion as well. You have 2 lovely titles there behind you. We'll talk obviously about the first one, which is the SOVPRO Commonwealth Championship, which you would defeat Leon Slater for. In Leon, quite an accomplished man, obviously getting signed to TNA when they're here for their UK tour and having that championship around your waist. For folks who may not be familiar with the title itself, what's the history of the Commonwealth Championship?
So, history of Commonwealth Championship. It started with a tournament. I believe it was so Ninja Mac got early entry into it. And then the other qualifying matches, you had Kenny Williams and Leon Slater. Leon Slater won that match. Man Like Doris versus Talon Jr. Love Talon Jr., by the way. Talon Sr., though. But less said about him. Cut this bit. Can't speak about Talon Sr. and all the crimes he committed. But Talon Jr. and Man Like Doris went over Talon Sr. And then Joe Wade versus Kelly Six. Kelly Six went over, but Kelly Six was injured. So then there was a fatal 4-way at the next match. Crazy match. I believe it went out for free on Twitter and on YouTube. Ninja Mac, Man Like Doris, Leon Slater, and Leighton Buzzard filling in for the injured Kelly Six. Leon Slater won that match. Incredible. And then he went on to have a match against Jordan Oliver. Astounding, but I felt that I earned this. I mean, I won the Crown Cup by beating Kid Bandit. No matter what people say, I beat Kid Bandit. I won the Crown Cup. I lost the Crown Cup to Kelly Six. I'm like, well, let me get another prize. Stop poo-pooing on my ideas. I want another prize, and my other prize that I set my eye on was the Commonwealth Championship. Because I wasn't going after Joko. I felt that this represents your boy. It's the workman's title. I don't want main events. I want things that people remember. And going after the target, the person that everyone is looking at, Leon Slater, the world's looking at. He appeared on WWE, AEW, and TNA all within 1 year. He's prime target, and he's got a belt around his waist. All you have to do is bait him into a match. Take the belt from him. If he's going to drop the belt and put it down, he's going to get hit with it. And I'm going to steal it. Because I got the match that I wanted, and I got the result that I wanted. This guy.
Hey, you produced results indeed, brother, as well. And, you're currently on day 166 of your reign as well. I mean, quite an accomplishment there as well. Yes, we pull up all the facts. When you look back on your reign as champion, is there anything else you will have to do to cement your legacy with the titles, or anything you want to do? Maybe take it across the world or a particular opponent, really cement yourself. When people look at that championship, they think Ian Skinner.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna make sure that has happened out because I want to cement it. Okay, I want to defend it. I mean, I didn't defend it at the last show because I was celebrating over winning it, but it turns out the celebration was created by Simon Miller, and we'll get to that. The whole Simon Miller thing. Why? Shut up. We can get to that. Simon Miller's like, oh, I want to challenge for it. Now, actually, this when will this come out in week or so, couple weeks time?
Wednesday.
Yeah, so I'll have released my video by then. But Simon Miller actually can't make Third Reign, where he set up this thing. It's like, oh, it's the celebration of Ian Skinner. It's like, well, it's not actually. I'm here to embarrass you. I'm here to get you in the ring because I'm challenged you for that match. And management says yes at Third Reign. I'm annoyed by that, but Simon Miller can't make Third Reign. So, oh no, oh Simon. But I was training for this match against Simon. The mental training, the physical training. So, I'll be happily putting it on the line against whatever SOVPRO management make up. But I think I will start as I mean to go on. I will defend this with my heart, soul, my body, my brain. But I want marquee matches. I want matches that people realize why Ian Skinner is the Commonwealth champion, why I'm taking the place of Leon Slater. Because I feel like a lot of people look at Ian Skinner, they see the online videos, but they don't appreciate the in-ring talent. Because there's a differential there. It's like a UFC fight. Conor McGregor is only popular for his out-of-ring action, followed by his in-ring action. He beats people out, Jose Aldo, Eddie Alvarez, and he knocks them down.
Fair point indeed there. But you mentioned Mr. Simon Miller there, and I know he's irked a previous guest of mine, Tate Mayfair's, and now he seems to have irked you. He's like, does Simon need to be taught a proper lesson? You know, what's he doing? You know, does he need to stop the thumbs up, thumbs down? What's this guy doing that's really getting on people's website?
I mean, my my beef. I don't have beef with him. He has beef with me. My distaste for him began with the initial SOVPRO, the first Crown Cup match. You can pretty much chronicle it, in which that the build to this match, the first two people announced for the 2022 Crown Cup, Simon Miller and your boy Ian Skinner. And then Kid Bandit's announced, and they were like, oh my god, it's going to be the wholesome match, because Simon Miller and Kid Bandit are in it. I'm there as well, guys. I don't know why the attention's been distracted away, because there's 3 people in this match, but you're only talking about 2 people. So that irked me. And you can watch the Crown Cup for yourself at First Reign there. But I pinned Simon Miller using his own most dangerous move in professional wrestling, the surprise roll up, the schoolboy pin. And I eliminated him. I thought I'd won the match because the match was chaos. There was like 8 people in. I got thrown into a ring post. Everything went a little bit foggy, but I remember pinning Simon Miller. And that was golden. I was celebrating, but it turns out Kid Bandit was still there. So me and Kid Bandit tussled, and let's just say the good guy didn't win that one. But then at the next show, Simon Miller gets a World Heavyweight Championship match. You tell me the logic there. As much as they beefed after the show, but why did Simon Miller get a championship match when this guy pinned him? But Ian Skinner had to start his own beef with Smash and Mike to get on the next show. Tell me the logic in that. And when I go out and explain that, the show after, when I go out and explain that I've been outnumbered multiple times in the Crown Cup, 7 other people in the Crown Cup, that's why I don't win. And then Smash and Mike and his dad, who could have been my dad, okay? Smash and Mike's dad could have been my dad, but he decided, oh no, I like Smash and Mike more than I like Ian Skinner. Outnumbered me, and I lost that match. So when I come out to express my discontent for the narrative that, like, oh, Ian Skinner, oh, he's just a whiny baby, meh, meh, meh. There's multiple people against me. I am just one man, so I had to even the odds. Before I evened the odds, whilst I'm talking about, like, why I'm so upset, Simon Miller comes out, say why, and he appears. He comes out and he's like drawing off about like, oh, everyone else wants me to tell you to shut up. I'm like, but this is literally the thing I'm talking about. No one allows me to have my spotlight because other people keep walking into it. So I evened the odds. Big T justice. Justice for Skinner. And then we have a tag team match. It's Kid Bandit and Simon Miller. Oh, the most wholesome tag team match where we dress up like anime characters. Stupid. Me and Big T dominate. I take the Crown Cup. It's rightfully mine. I pin Kid Bandit. So then I have to defend the Crown. I say I put the Crown Cup on defense because no one was appreciating it. Kid Bandit had it for 3 shows and not once did anyone care about it. Within 24 hours, I made the Crown Cup more relevant by the time Kid Bandit was holding it. And yet they will not recognize me as a Crown Cup holder. I think that's disgusting. So we have this Crown CC 2023 is what I like to call it. The Crown Cup 2023. 10 people this time. Smart guy Ian Skinner. I'm biding my moment on commentary. I'm a killer commentator. Thank you very much. I make it entertaining. DJ King sucks. Tom McManus, lovely guy. Invited him around for New Year. He's a great guy. Simon Miller pins me. I'm like, fair do, Simon Miller. If you want the Crown Cup so bad, how about you marry it? How about you kiss it, huh? So I crack him over the head. He gets eliminated from the Crown Cup. Good stuff. Don't want that Crown Cup anymore. It's dented. But luckily enough, because we're talking about the expenses to repair the Crown Cup and the animosity that's building between us, me and Simon Miller get a tag team match against the 8-7 tag. Me and Simon Miller could have been world tag team champions. And I'm not going to go over. So Simon Miller kind of like saw through the facade that I was building because I was like, hey, me and Simon Miller, we could be great. We could be a tag team. But I was just literally trying to bait him so we could win a championship together, and then I could turn on him so I could get 2 belts. He saw through that, okay? No one else saw. I got the people of SOVPRO, the fans, because I knew that there's sacrifices you need to make in certain situations. So I took a pounce from Roy Johnson just to gain sympathy. But I thought Simon Miller could capitalize. He didn't capitalize. He got pinned. He's an idiot. All I had to do was take a pounce. But the fans, they were on my side. Yes. And then I steal the Commonwealth Championship, puts me in that picture. Because if I'm not going to get the Crown Cup, if I'm not going to get the World Tag Team Championships, both belts, I may as well shoot my shot at the next big thing. The next big thing being Leon Slater, but Commonwealth Championship. I'm going to make that the next big thing. And I got my match. And I got the result that I'm wanting. So when we celebrate, Simon Miller comes out. He says he sets up this whole thing just so that he can get a match because he feels he has unfinished business with me. You have unfinished business with me? I have unfinished business with you, mate. I just don't care that much. I'm ready to let it go. I'm ready to drive off into the sunset with the Commonwealth Championship, but he's not wanting to let it go. Once again, as soon as Ian Skinner is given the spotlight, Simon Miller walks into it. What's more frustrating is, like, most time you can plan 4 or 5 steps ahead of someone in wrestling and know you have an advantage. Simon Miller's super exciting. Because he knows I'm thinking 4 or 5 steps ahead of him. So he plans 4 or 5 steps. So now we're on an equal playing field, which means I just have to plan 6, 7, 8. But I guess he's caught me out because he just can't make third reign. Lovely stuff. Again, this is the stuff I'm talking about. He's inserted himself. He's got a match from management. And he decides he wants to be somewhere else on that day. He walked into the spotlight just to go, can we turn that off, please? Thank you. That's my beef with Simon Miller.
I think it's a fair beef indeed, brother. I mean, hey, you wanted 2 belts, but eventually you would get that second belt as well because there's another one there on that little bit behind you. I think there's a bit of a story to that because...
Yeah. The TIDAL Openweight Championship. So this was actually defunct. It hasn't been used since 2019, since 2020. I'm not too sure there. Last time it was defended or won. Held by Tom Thelwell. At my singles debut in TIDAL, I was meant to be me and Dara Diablo. Lovely guy. Charles Bronson looking guy. But he wasn't there. But this guy, Tom Thelwell, comes out and he decides, oh, by the way, I'm still the champ. I'm the longest reigning champ. And I'm like, bro, you can't be the longest reigning champ when the champion doesn't really exist anymore. It's like the FTW belt. Like, Taz is like, oh, I'm the longest reigning FTW champ. It's like, well, bro, of course you are, because you've not defended it in X amount of days. So, we had a little match for a tussle. I'm like, cool, I'm going to pile driver this belt. That's one thing I wanted to do. I just want to like, yo, you get your defunct belt, Jerry Lynn, cradle pile driver, drop it on its head. Then take a photo of it, put like RIP TIDAL Openweight Championship, and then like, the date. We loved you while we had you. But Thelwell decides he's gonna hit me with the belt, get DQ'd, and then just like start laying into me and punching me. So bit of a dick move. However, we get a layup. TIDAL goes, well, hey, next time you're here, you versus Tom Thelwell in a no DQ match. I'm like, brilliant, I can finally get my revenge. He does a belt shot in the match as well because he still thinks, oh, I'm the TIDAL chief. Terrible. There's only one TIDAL chief, that's Ace Matthews, but he parades around like it's his, like he's a champion when it's defunct. It's defunct. But I beat him. I went through so much adversity. I got shot with kendo sticks. I got fake blood poured on me. I got speared more times than I can count on one hand, and I beat Tom Thelwell. But I got on the mic afterwards, right? And for shoots, I'm like, I'm not getting hit with kendo sticks and getting speared onto lollies just to win. If he's gonna parade around with the TIDAL Openweight Championship, I literally gave a poll to the fans in front of the promoter. I was like, right, so do I pile driver the belt? Yeah. Or maybe I walk away with the belt. We reinstate it as Ian Skinner as champ. And I made sure to double check if the pile driver was what they wanted. They didn't want the pile driver, which is a shame because I thought that would have been a great meme. But they wanted Ian Skinner as title open champion. So I'm happy about that. And the promoter said, "Yep," he gave it the thumbs up. So thank you, Taj. And thank you, Tidal Waves, which is what I call the fans. They voted. I'm the people's champ, pretty much. I feel like for both companies, I'm the people's champ. Like I'm representing what the people want in both companies.
Yeah, absolutely as well. I mean, that championship belt you mentioned obviously being kind of defunct for the longest time, and now it's back with you as the champion that represents that belt. I'd love to pose the same question I asked for the Commonwealth Championship of how you want to make it your own. How do you want to put your own identity on this formerly defunct championship?
Well, I feel like we'll have a chat with management and see how their understanding of it works. But this is the TIDAL Open Championship. Now, I mean, I don't know how Discovery look at their Openweight Championship, but I feel that like as an Open Championship, opens a lot of doors. Like, I've not had an intergender match yet. Maybe like some mixed tags, but I've never had an intergender match. And I feel like there's a lot of people on the scene right now who I'm like, I'd love to wrestle you. And Lucia Lee, Lana Austin, Rio, like just to name a few within the area. There's so many people that I'm like, this could be the convergence for some intergender wrestling. The Commonwealth Championship is kind of like, it's got a different prestige to it that, SOVPRO has its own women's championship as much as like TIDAL has its own women's championship as well, but an open championship, I believe it's like open to anyone. Maybe not tag teams. I feel like that'd be silly to go, oh yeah, if you're a tag team, handicap this guy, because you're literally putting yourself at a disadvantage there. But open championship, heavyweights, cruiserweights, junior weights, straw weights, featherweights, everything. I feel like it's open for business.
Hey, Ian Skinner, a challenger of all. I mean, I'm sure you're going to definitely put on some fun matches and a true identity for that championship in the future as well. But obviously, you're going to be doing quite a lot of things. I know next month you're going to be making your debut for Bleeding Gums Wrestling, Liquid Filth against you and G Mackey.
Death match, more like my name Jeff match. Let's go.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Love that line.
Oh, lordy. I would love to know about Bleeding Gums and your aspiration to make your debut for them. Obviously, it's not a death match, so there will be no glass, no crazy antics of that. But
no gossets. And like, listen, I'm a cool guy with lots of friends, okay? But I don't want to get pins stuck in my head. I listened to Andrew talk about like someone getting, I don't know what it was.
Kenzen and Jack Harris.
Yeah. I'm like, no, thank you. But I'm around Rise down here, so I don't know how Bleeding Gums came about. It was one of the things where like Andrew came to me. I feel like me and Andrew have crossed paths before a couple times on SWN. I asked him deathmatch, my name Jeff match in his episode recently. But I guess it's one of those things that kind of like fell into place. First time matchup against Mackie. I'm gonna just lay the goblin out. I'm a goblin slayer, baby. Like, listen, you can wear your cuddly bear outfit. It doesn't matter. I'm a sick wrestler. I'm gonna do some sick moves, and I'm a pin you.
Absolutely.
You may be the champion of Dundee, but how about you Dundee's nuts?
I need to drink more. Good lord. I mean, fair thing as well. But obviously, UNGI has that bear outfit. You have your iconic fur coats. I mean, it's going to be a battle of the furs, I think, for this match.
Yeah, but there's only one guy who's styling with Riz, and it's your boy, Big Skinsy.
Fair play indeed. I mean, obviously, Bleeding Gums Wrestling, Liquid Filth, November 10th in Dundee at the church. amazing venue. You know, I've done for stuff for Bleeding Gums as well. I'm sure it's gonna be a fun show. Of course, having you there as well is gonna be a great presence. I'm sure everybody will love having Ian Skinner there. And
It's
who knows?
interesting. I feel like it's a new territory because I feel like I've done Edinburgh, I've done like Glasgow around that area, but I've never been above. Like WrestleZone, like it's someplace I like, was kind of like on my bucket list, but I just like never happened, never came to fruition. But going above across that bridge, along to Dundee, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if like do these people know your boy or am I coming to a new group?
Oh, I mean, Ian, I've seen you're a popular guy. I've seen the Instagram comments love you. You've got all the followers. I'm sure there's a few Skinner maniacs out there loving to get a
I call
brush
them
for the
simps.
glass.
I call them simps. Or Shemps. No, Shemps are my haters. Just people like, oh, you think you're so cool? Yes, I am, Shemp. But yeah, I'm sure there'll be a couple simps up there as well. But yeah, I'm interested. I never go into an area with the assumption that people know who I am. I'll just be me. I do my thing. I do the Ian Skinner thing with Riz. Cool guy and lots of friends. I do the real thing.
Truly, really indeed, my friend, as well. And I believe as well, you've mostly stayed within the UK wrestling. You've not really gone abroad. Or is that something you want to maybe achieve in, 2024 is nearly up. Crazy to think about it. 2025 will be in the window. Is that a plan for you going abroad?
So I've wrestled in Ireland before for OTT in their Contender Series. So I'd love to get back to OTT. Incredible company, incredible show. Like great people there as well. What a locker room. But on top of that as well, yeah, I've got my sights set on Europe. I feel that moving at the start of 2024 is like very much kind of like I need to find my feet. I need to establish my kind of like new home base because I mean I don't even think that people like I was a household name in Scotland. I'm not household name, but you kind of like get within the wrestling sphere. I don't think like I was a name in Scotland. So it's all about kind of like I need to establish myself in my new home base where I've got my claws in and make sure that I get around that. Like I've had so many debuts this year. Pro Wrestling Chaos. Planet Wrestling this weekend there. TIDAL Wrestling, I wasn't kind of like on their fill previously. True Grit Wrestling, like there's so many debuts I've had this year, so I'm still like trying to find my feet, create my base before I'm able to expand out. But I've got my eyes on places: Italy, Spain, France, Holland, maybe the US. We'll see, who knows. But yeah, I want to wrestle as much, learn from people's different ideologies and technicalities and skill sets. Like very passionate about wrestling. I don't know if you could tell. As much as like anyone else on this show would be, but I feel that like when you have a passion, you've got drive on top of that as well.
Of course. Hey, absolutely indeed, Ian. I'm sure with all your friends and all the places, there'll be lots of people turning out to see you succeed, my friend. But Ian Skinner, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here on the 150th episode of the Soul Session. Before we go, obviously, two final questions. We talked about Starship Troopers in the beginning, and films do like a bit of a remake, but I want to know maybe if you got put in the casting chair, who from the British wrestling scene would you like to see be cast in a Starship Troopers movie?
Oh God. Oh, that's rough, okay? Because you have to look at it from a satirical perspective as well, right? Because like Casper Van Dien, like it's not as if he's like the best actor, right? But he's a great Johnny Rico. He could be Captain America with that jaw. So you need someone with like a great jaw, a great physique to be kind of like placeholder superhero. Oh man, that's like maybe like if it's like new gen, right? Who's a handsome guy, right? Nico Angelo.
Oh.
It's a different take, it's a different vibe. But what a guy. And then you probably have like again like Connor Mills. He's probably playing like Carl. Because I feel like he's got that like telepathic like vibe to him. Crowley there, he's Ace Levy, like he doesn't have the teeth for Gary Busey, right? Because not Gary Busey, Jake Busey. Because the thing with Jake Busey is you could punch him anywhere in his face and you'd punch his teeth. But he's got that friendly vibe. He's the twat, he comes in and he's like, oh, of course everyone needs a friend like me. That's Crowley right there. Man, I feel like you've got Michael Ironside. You probably want someone like James Mason playing Mr. Ratchek. You know, I can imagine him, getting his legs bitten off and being like, "Oh, do it, you know what to do." Man, probably OJMO for Sugar Watkins, killer guy. Oh, yeah. That's my little Starship Troopers fan cast right there. Let's say
that'll definitely bring in the money, definitely more than Joker 2. So you'll be getting some heavy box office revenue from that.
Now, if we're talking about controversial opinions, I kind of enjoyed Joker 2.
Really?
Because it told the story. It like there's a couple things that if you changed it a little, could have been great towards the back end there, but I still understood themes of the story. It's all about your shadow overgrowing what you are as a person. And we were trying, it was very much the more that he was influenced by a fan, by a stan in Harley Quinn, the more he was influenced like that, the more he fell back into delusion. Because he was a quiet guy, but as soon as he got inspired by someone who saw him as a celebrity, he's like, yeah, okay, maybe I am the Joker, maybe. And then that's when the music came, because the music started off simple, just a little bit of singing, and then he started full on singing in that interview with Steve Coogan, who was in that film, and Brendan Gleeson. But the more he slipped into delusion, the grander the songs got, the more set dress, and the more he allowed himself to go into fantasy and be Joker. But then it comes to the end where harsh reality hits, where he gets the beating. I'm going to say beating. I'm not going to I'm sure there's an implication with the kind of the shower scene, but something happens there, and then he's not musical anymore. He is just Arthur Fleck. No matter how much he tries to pretend, he is Arthur Fleck, and he sees the humanity in him. I feel that the jury accusing him for murder, but not seeing that, yes, he does have a mixed personality, because there's a lot going on. Puddles as well. That should have been the conversion point of hearing Puddles' story about how he affected Puddles. That should have been his point of going, who is he looking at? Because right now, he knows who Arthur is, but he's looking at me now and he's not seeing Arthur. He's seeing Joker. And what Joker has done to him is not what Arthur wants to do to him. That should have been the conversion points that makes him go, but I'm not the Joker anymore. And you see, the shadow overgrew and took over who he was, because his ego was being inflated by these people like Harley Quinn. And then it's not her who walks out. It's not just her who walks out when he says, I'm just Arthur Fleck. Multiple people walk out. He's radicalized people who want to, as they say in the first film, go werewolf. The Joker is their excuse to being I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to slip into my own delusion, my own desire, because this is what I want to do. Which is why when he's climbing the stairs at the end, he's realized, I'm Arthur Fleck. I'm not Joker. Joker is the delusion. And she starts singing back at him. And he's like, I don't want delusion. I want reality. And you get harsh reality. And the harsh reality is his shadow has created such a persona, such an area for people to werewolf out, that he gets killed by someone who wants to be him. I feel like that's a great story. There's a couple speed bumps in it, but people wanted Joker 2. This, maybe as a standalone Joker film, could be a 4 or 5 star masterpiece. But because Todd Phillips took so many kind of risks, there was so much budget put behind it, people are looking at it from a grander picture. And I can understand the hate behind it, of course, because you built it almost makes that first film null and void. But as a standalone movie, I think it's a very interesting take on the Joker character and the themes of duality, but not dual personality, but kind of like that cartoon at the first. Me and my shadow. My shadow is the Joker. I'm Arthur Fleck. And it dresses up as me. And people see the shadow. The shadow does everything. But when the hard times come, when the police come, my shadow goes, not anymore. arm away, and you're left with the reality of your actions.
So it's definitely not as bad as Morbius then.
Oh yeah, well listen, I've seen more BS on Netflix than no pop. Damn man, I thought more BS is
I'm giving you it. It's just the alcohol's taking effect.
Yeah, listen, Morbius is great. I love Morbius. Doctor Who, hey. Madam Web. Oh boy.
Oh shit. Boy. God. How do
Love
people like? It's a take.
I think we need. We need more terrible movies. Okay, I think that's just because B movies used to be my jam. Bad Taste, I believe it is. It's the Peter Jackson film. Is it Bad Taste where the aliens come and it's all super gory and like a guy's head gets like cracked open and seagulls eat his brain and he has to like sellotape his head? We need more bad movies. I feel like that's because you appreciate a good film because of because sometimes I feel like everyone needs to lower their expectations.
Yeah, we definitely have high expectations. When Francis Ford Coppola comes out with this Megalopolis and everybody's like, it's going to be the revolution of cinema, and then it's just, it's it.
Yeah, and Trap as well, where you go, what's this Josh Hartnett murder story? It's like, it's just M. Night Shyamalan going, yo, have you seen my daughter? She's great. Look at her acting and singing and dancing. She's good, right? She's good. Hey, Josh Hartnett, get out of the way. Look, she's doing a full song. You get to see a full performance of my daughter.
That's show business, Ian. That's show business. But you know what? It's the joys of show business. You get funds and enjoyments and all that. But you know what? Final question, of course, my friend. You mentioned obviously you want to go see Hocus Pocus again. It's a really classic, obviously Disney original. I think of things obviously like Halloween Town and so many others. And it's really that spooky atmosphere because it's October. It's the fun of it. And I want to know, Ian, if you could have some horror-inspired gear, maybe by a film or a horror character, who and why for the spooky month of October?
See, that's rough, right? Because there's so many horror icons. And I've seen other people do it so well, like Freddy Krueger, Kings of the North. That's who I immediately think of. I feel like I'd need to find a horror icon that's kind of unique to me and it also falls into the character. Because I feel I could choose horror icons that I love, but maybe it doesn't play, So I'd need to find the one for me. And I feel like Nightmare on Elm Street used to be my jam. I feel like Saw could be the one. I remember hyperfixating on Saw. I feel like if I was gonna choose one horror that kind of affected me as a young age, but then I came back to it, I love this and hyperfixate over it, it'd be Final Destination. However, I can't get Final Destination inspired gear because what would I get? The wind. There's so many interesting iconography, but there's nothing that is you don't see something and go, well, the back of a truck with logs in it, you see that and you go Final Destination, but you can't get that in gear format. I'd need to chat with a gear designer and just be like, okay, watch these films and what can you get from it?
For me, it's not a horror film, but it's a Halloween film or technically Christmas film, whatever. I would love to see in some Jack Skellington gear with his whole suit. Right. That would look cool.
With tails as well, yeah.
Oh hell yeah! I've got to go with tails.
Suit and tails. I tell you, I'm probably okay, mate. I mean, probably it might be a little. It's not on the nose, right? But it's a little. It's niche and it's nerdy and dorky, but I can't remember. It wasn't Calendar Man, but getting some iconography from The Long Halloween from Batman, and because it's The Long Halloween, because massive Batman fan. I've got Nightwing. That's the tattoo.
Oh, fucking sick.
And that's my first tattoo. I love Nightwing. Nightwing is my jam. Since he appeared in the new animated series, I kind of just clicked with the character. But yeah, something from The Long Halloween. I can't remember what's his bloody name. I I'm gonna have to Google it right now because I feel like if I don't, I will go crazy. Because they go speak to Calendar Man. Like Holiday is just his name was Holiday. So seeing if I can like get something from Holiday's like his mask or like something, because I mean he's just a Maroni, he just wears a suit, but yeah, something from the Long Halloween I think would be the jam because it's the Long Halloween.
Oh yeah, Long Halloween's a good
Or
Batman.
just a Batman villain, maybe like a Two-Face. I feel like the Joker's maybe done, but I could probably rock with like some purple and green.
What about Black Mask?
Black Mask, too easy, right? Too easy because and Andrade's already done it. Because
Okay.
as soon as you take off the mask and the suit, big man in a suit of armor, take that away. What are you? A big man. But yeah, Black Mask, he's sick.
I've been watching that new Cape Crusaders one. What about the onomatopoeia character?
Oh right, yeah. Oh, BT Gun's already done it, but the Riddler, like a little bit of a Riddler.
Oh, you're gonna make so many 8x10s that can be sold for a good penny with that kind of.
Listen, I feel that like rather than like go for horror iconography, as much as I love horror films, I feel like Batman villains are like they're the jam right there. A Mr. Freeze little thing, because I feel like Mr. Freeze would be it'd be an interesting take because everyone has a different take on Mr. Freeze. I said to Rob Stowe he should like be more Bane, you know. Because he's the backbreaker, you know, he's not the backbreaker messiah, Roddy Strong, end of Heartache, sick. But you know, he's a backbreaker, he'll break your back, he'll break your T9, break your vertebrae. He should just be Bane. Yes.
That would be cool. I mean, I know Monstrum's got the mask, but I mean maybe we could get a customized Bane mask for Stowe. I think that'd be pretty sick as well. But I mean, I said that was the final question, but I gotta go again. Obviously,
because I brought up another thing about Batman. Hell yeah!
You mentioned Batman. That's got my mind racing. Obviously, Batman. For me, was obviously the Tim Burton films being introduction, then Christian Bale, obviously Batman. But I really love the Arkham games. They were perfection. I remember buying Arkham City day one and finishing it within like 6 hours because I was just so invested. Obviously, that universe has been continued with the Suicide Squad game.
Don't it hurts. I bought it with
poor bastard.
Don't. It hurts because I had so much hope for it, and I'm like, oh, but I transitioned from like the existential dread away from there. I'm like, but Starship Troopers is coming out. I can get Starship Troopers. But yeah, who's your Batman?
Oh, who's my Batman? It's gonna be Kevin Conroy.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, but who's your live action?
Oh,
as much as Kevin Conroy did do live action, who was your live action film Batman?
Christian Bale, 100%.
Yeah. George Clooney.
Really, Clooney?
Because he was Batman for me. Batman and Robin is my jam. I hate that it's my jam, but it is my jam.
See, I grew up with Clooney as the doctor from ER. I can't really take him seriously as Batman.
I can't see him in anything else other than like him being Batman. It's that's just it for me. I appreciate Batman, like Keaton, great Batman. Val Kilmer, crazy Batman. He's got that meme. Christian Bale's great. Robert Pattinson, he's the new favorite. Loved his dichotomy between Bruce Wayne and Batman. But George Clooney, he's my guy. Freeze, I'm Batman.
The loves and joy. But you know,
what killed the dinosaurs?
The Ice Age.
The Ice Age. Thanks for having me, man.
The 90s were a pleasure in time, my friend. You know what? Wrapping up with the one final question because literally my laptop is on power save mode, so that's where we're going to end this here. That's the fun of it. We've seen obviously with the Batman Robert Pattinson as a new universe. We've got the Penguin TV show, which has been very highly loved by fans. What Batman villain would you love to see either appear in the Batman universe or get their own TV show like the Penguin?
Oh, hell yeah. Well, listen, I've talked about this in the car many times, right? I'd love an interesting take on Clayface if we're doing a villain that we've not seen before. I feel that Clayface is a story that you could tell within a realistic universe. Obviously, we already had it on the Cape Crusader as well. I feel like if you do something like that, you do have a murder mystery on your hands alongside this like hyper like stylized, newfound like character. But if we're gonna revisit a previous villain, we're doing a Heart of Ice, Mr. Freeze, because that episode, I mean, it revolutionized Mr. Freeze as a character. But I feel that if you have a Shades of Grey story with Mr. Freeze, where he's just trying to save his wife, but he has to like he's become something. It's like a Frankenstein story where he's become a monster by virtue of just wanting to save his wife.
It's the frozen heart, but still cares. I mean, you want Freeze, Clayface, I want Scarecrow, because I just love the look of Scarecrow and that element of fear. That's the joys of it. And hey, you could work in professional wrestling, because professional wrestling's a story, and it's a full bunch of characters like yourself, Mr. Ian Skinner, of course. And folks, that's it. That's us wrapping up here this 150th episode of the Soul Sets with, of course, Ian Skinner. And of course, folks, if you love what you've heard of Skinner, down in the comments or the description, more likely, you will find Ian Skinner's Instagram. Click it, follow his journey, see his reigns as obviously two championships, see what he gets up to, and see where Ian Skinner lands next. Well, folks, for this 150th episode, for the 150th time, I have been your host, Soul. Finish up your drink, put your chairs away, and thank you as always for tuning in for another episode of the Soul Sessions.
It's your boy.
Now I'm out there living too. Gonna live like animals do. No more laws and no more